Well, Natalie Houlton from Yellow Duck Development, welcome to Business Unlimited. Great to have you with us. First of all, just tell us where you're based here in South Yorkshire.
Thank you, Tim. Really excited to be here. I am based in Cawthorne in Barnsley. You can tell where I say the word Barnsley, how I'm not actually from Barnsley. But yeah, so lovely part of South Yorkshire.
Excellent. And a fantastic name for a business, Yellow Duck Development. We'll unpack that, but let's go back to what led you to start Yellow Duck Development. So just give us a bit of a flavour of your life, a summary of your business background and the journey leading up to starting that business.
Well, I've been in learning and development roles since the late 90s. So I started my career off working for a telecoms business, and it grew from there. So I spent 5 years in 3 different large blue chip companies building an L&D, learning development capability. And each of those organizations I worked in, I got a lot from. They're all very different, but I enjoyed them all for different reasons. So that's approximately 14 or 15 years. And the last one was in the steel industry. And I took a year maternity leave. And when I went back, my role changed. So became more of a talent role, which was what the business needed at the time. After about 9 or 10 months of doing that role, I felt like I was trying to wear an outfit that didn't fit really. And so I was part-time because I'd gone back from maternity leave. And I was doing a lot of reflection of what is it I really want, because this isn't right. And then a friend of mine who does what I do, but independently, said, oh, I want to have a chat with you actually about an opportunity. She went on holiday for 3 weeks. And all I could think about during that 3 weeks is, what's this opportunity? What was this opportunity? Literally. And I went round for tea and she was chatting about all sorts. And I'm literally waiting for her to say, oh, that opportunity, because that's all I'd been thinking about. She'd be happily on her holiday. Anyway, eventually she did. I went, thank God for that. Wondered when you were going to tell me. Long story short, large bank, we're looking for some contractors, some trainers to redesign a private wealth induction. And she said, we're looking for great people. And I thought of you. And I just went, let's do it. I was at that point. Nothing felt like a risk. I was fortunate. I had a husband who had a fairly stable role with a good salary. So I guess from a risk point of view, it was fairly low because I could always get a job. But I thought, let's try it. So then I said, right, I'm going to do this properly. So I set up a limited company with a view to growing a good L&D provider organization. And that's what I did. So I literally resigned without any contract. I'd had a chat, but nothing was formalized. But as it was, I finished my job on the Thursday and I started a new contract as an associate. So that's an important part of this journey, really, the day after.
So what led you then to strike out on your own with Yellow Duck?
Well, I guess I wanted to get back to what I really enjoyed. So what I really enjoyed with my own career was designing and delivering good quality learning interventions. So I set up Yellow Duck Development and I did the associate work alongside it. So it was just a stepping stone to earn some money to then be able to grow the business or get to a point where I'm doing what I really love to do. And design and delivery, being able to really help people to perform better, to work differently, to think differently, to build and develop their strengths is really where I get excited. I enjoy being able to help people develop their skill set. So that's where really Yellow Duck Development was all about. It was about being able to help people develop their skills. The other was about the type of learning. So Yellow Duck Development is about providing engaging learning solutions. When you're young, learning's fun. You know, it's colourful, it's energetic, it's playful, it's interesting, it's creative. And then as you get older, it gets drier and duller and more beige and more grey and less fun and less playful and less creative. And for me, they go hand in hand. So
Well, that's where the name Yellow Duck came from.
Yeah, Exactly that. And I defy anyone, Tim, to not be able to look at a yellow duck and not smile and not, feel good. And learning should do that. Learning should make you feel really engaged and happy and joyful. And my daughter at the time was about 18 months too. And we were literally in our house surrounded by yellow ducks. And she was at that really lovely stage of just learning and playing and developing her own skills. And I wanted to harness that. But in a business world, I do believe you can do both. Why can't we have a bit of fun? And I work with exec level and I get Lego out and I get fidget toys out and they light up. So it's nonsense that we have to separate the two and a board meeting is dull and dry. Everything can have an element of fun in it. That doesn't mean we just play. It means there's a playfulness to our business focused discussions.
So who's your target market then? Who do you think makes an ideal client for you?
I work with such varied clients. I have a client of mine I've been working with for nearly 8 or 9 years now, who is a small engineering consultancy with a circa 30 members of staff, to global packaging companies that have 45, 50,000 employees. It's an interesting one. I feel I add value to the middle and senior management population, particularly middle management, because I think they've got the toughest jobs, to be honest. They're sandwiched in the middle and get pulled from many different directions, and that brings itself many challenges. So sector wise, I don't target a sector. It's more about who I can help rather than what sector or what industry I can help in.
Very good. And tell us about the journey of Yellow Duck development then, in terms of growth, and give us a sense of scale. Do you work on your own? Do you have a team? Do you have support? What sort of scale of growth have you seen for your own business?
I haven't grown massively in that I don't have a team. That's strategic. I've done that on purpose. I'm not marketing myself against other training companies that have lots of associates going out and delivering things all over the place. That's not what I want to do, and or how I want to spend my energy. My energy is about doing the stuff I feel I add value in, and that's working directly with clients. The bigger it gets, the less I know I will do that. So my growth is about who and how I work. So my growth has been, particularly in the last 12 months actually, has moved me into an area where I'm collaborating more with other people, other talented learning development professionals. So I realized about 18 months ago, 2 years ago, that I wanted to work alongside people. And so that means reflecting that in my costs, because I need to be able to earn the same, but also take somebody with me, and having the, I guess, be brave and courageous to be able to go, actually, this is what value we bring as a collective, as a team of people into your organization. And that is a very different offering, but it's one I'm really enjoying, and it's one I'm planning to do more of in 2023 and beyond. I'm not pretending to have all capabilities, but I know a lot of great trainers and facilitators and coaches who do. And so working with them strengthens Yellow Duck Development's offering. And that's where I'm going now, and how I want to build the business, really.
And so what about the pandemic? How did you deal with the pandemic? You're clearly a relationship-based business, and relationships were tested in the pandemic. Was it just simply a case of moving to virtual, to Zoom and Teams, or how did you adapt?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things there. The pandemic was a very interesting and turbulent time for me personally and professionally. So sadly, a week before first lockdown, I lost a friend to suicide, a close friend, and that sent me to a little bit of a personal but at the same time, all my clients that I had work coming up with said, we're going to park it. And actually, on a personal level, that couldn't have come at a better time. So it was actually quite timely, because I needed some space to process what was going on. But then I quickly needed to feel useful and helpful. So I set up a volunteering scheme in my village to help get food and things, prescriptions to my local environment. So I had 35 volunteers that supported me in making that happen. So I guess I used my relationship side and my strengths to coordinate and pull things together in a different way for the first couple of months, actually. And then clients started coming back to me and talking about doing some things virtually. And I'd spent the previous 8 years or whatever in business pushing back on virtual work and going, no, in person. I didn't really engage with it apart from meetings. And I had to really overcome that. I had to learn, I had to get good at using Zoom. I went straight to a paid Zoom account and threw myself into learning how to use that for learning rather than meetings. It's very different to using all the tools, and I had to be a great facilitator online. But, I live in a place where sometimes the internet doesn't really work as well as you'd like. And I was running an event for a few days, a couple of hours each day, and it just kept crashing. And I had a real meltdown about it, Tim, if I'm honest. I was like, this isn't what I signed up for. I want to go back to in person. This isn't for me. I think I need to have a career change. And I had a real grieving process with it all. I felt like my job, my career had really changed, and not for the better is how I felt. Fast forward probably 12 months of doing that stuff, because my clients all then went, let's do it virtually. I now feel in a much stronger place in terms of the programs that I design for organizations, particularly for leaders and for managers, because I can now complement in-person group learning sessions with online virtual catch-ups and coaching sessions and accountability led sessions and action learning and all sorts of different things. So I use it now as part of my
Right.
offering, my solutions, in a way that I feel complements a program in a blended way rather than moving completely to it. So it's definitely strengthened my business, even though I was kind of like a toddler kicking and screaming my way through it at the beginning.
I think you've described the journey that so many people have been on, the challenges, the grief, that grief journey, what that looks like for everybody, and then the adaptation. And, you think of the classic change curve and the new normal, as it were, for people, and the acceptance of that. It is very much, I think, a grief journey for a lot of people through the pandemic. So I really appreciate your honesty and vulnerability in sharing that, because I think it'll resonate with a lot of people. I suppose, looking forward, there's key lessons you've started to articulate that you've learned. Anything else through your business journey that you think is fundamental learning for you that you're now starting to apply into your own context?
Definitely. One thing that I don't think you really can, even though some people may tell you, it definitely doesn't really land till you're in it, is for me, because I don't have a team, not a big organization, it can be a really lonely place. I've gone from being part of big L&D teams to me trying to help businesses solve things without necessarily that kind of sense of team around me to bounce off, to discuss, to benefit from. And so one of the learns for me later than I would have liked, maybe 4 or 5 years in, was to surround myself with networks of people. It doesn't solve that, because we're still independent people, but definitely feeling part of a network, part of a team of people who, when things are going wrong, or actually also things are going right, to be able to have a group to share that with, to discuss that with, to overcome that with, to celebrate that with, is really important. So I joined a couple of networks, a shout out to Trainer Talk and VIP Training Designers Club, both of which have given me really great networks to call on when I need it. In fact, I did it yesterday. A couple of people jumped on calls from me because I've got this proposal I'm battling with, and they went, I'll chat to you about my experiences and insights. I'm like, yay, because I'm a people person, so I need that energy.
And just bringing it towards a close, what's your vision for moving forward? What does the next 5 years look like for you?
Definitely the collaboration piece. definitely more building those stronger connections with other L&D people that I've already started to work with. So more of the same, really, Tim. I'd like to say I've got this grand plan. I haven't. If I keep doing this stuff and enjoying it and working with great people and delivering results for businesses, that makes me happy. That brings me joy.
That's really good. And I can hear the passion in your voice, and it comes across loud and clear. I suppose as a final question, any favorite quotes that you hold that are the threads through your life and your business?
Maya Angelou, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget the way that you've made them feel. That's kind of the heart of Yellow Duck Development. It's giving people a feeling and taking that feeling, helping make that happen for other people. So that's definitely one of mine. The other is you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. So if we want to change, we've got to accept things need to be different.
Good old Marshall
Probably
Goldsmith.
those two. Yeah, absolutely.
Very good. Well, look, Natalie Houlton, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Fascinating to hear your story. Really appreciate your willingness to be really open and honest about it. I'm sure that will be of great benefit to others listening. And thank you for your time.
It's been a pleasure, Tim. Thank you so much for inviting me on. I've really enjoyed it.